Let's face it, Clemson is beautiful in the fall, and the changing leaves by Tillman, the crisp winds on Bowman, and the rolling waves on Lake Hartwell help to make this town into a natural escape.
Imagine if Clemson, South Carolina was like McLeod, California. Like Clemson, they care a lot about their natural resources, especially their water supply.
In 2003, according to a Business Week investigation, Nestle wanted to make a deal with McLeod to hand over their entire water supply for up to 100 years, paying well under market price per acre-foot. The contract with a major bottling company, which took over 6 years for the town to overcome, entitled Nestle to the water rights first, before the citizens of McLeod. Above all, there were no environmental reviews done of the water removed, and no proof that their plants weren't hurting the town's personal water supply overall.
It's these huge water bottle companies such as Nestle that have skewed our perceptions of the industry and hidden the real problems behind bottled water. There are two main reasons why we should stop using it. One, it's bad for the environment. Two, it's corrupt entrepreneurially. Though this is a huge problem, we can really try to solve it. Just stop using bottled water.
Plastic water bottles are detrimental to our environments, both for the present and the future of our world. Let's talk about current manufacturing procedures. According to an article by the Huffington Post, there are 1,500 water bottles consumed each second by the U.S. We use 17 million barrels of oil each year just to produce all of those bottles. To put that in perspective, that's enough oil to keep 1 million cars fueled for an entire year. The Earth Policy Institute factors that the energy used to pump, process, transport, and refrigerate these water bottles totals to 50 million barrels of oil per year. While every manufacturing process requires energy to be put in, how necessary is it to use that much in order to produce something we don't even have to have? To simply deliver our bottles, says the Huffington Post, the U.S. requires a fleet of 40,000 18-wheelers each week. Think of how much air pollution and carbon dioxide waste these trucks are putting into our atmosphere every day, and how much of that air we are constantly breathing in.
How will plastic water bottles impact our future? One counter-argument is that we don't have to worry about them because we can always just recycle them.
According to National Geographic Kids, Americans recycle only 1 out of every 6 plastic water bottles. Furthermore, according to the Sierra Club, consumers trash 24 billion bottles a year. These bottles will be sitting in landfills for hundreds of years without decomposing. These growing piles of trash will eventually hurt our wildlife and the natural spaces that we are trying to preserve. In addition, think about how much money we spend each year on efforts to clean up the trash that we are unable to efficiently dispose of each day. The Huffington Post also examines the environmental impact of the plastic water bottles. These are made of PET plastics, a type of plastic that photodegrades, which means it breaks into smaller pieces over time. These pieces absorb toxins that pollute waterways, contaminate our soil, and sicken the animals that we then eat.
But the second reason why we need to stop using plastic water bottles is they're part of an entrepreneurial, corrupt system as a whole that needs to be stopped.
First, the major water bottling industries are hurting the economies and depleting the water supplies of the towns, such as McLeod, California, where their water is coming from. For example, according to the Swiss Alliance of Development Organizations, Nestle chose to bottle their Pure Life brand from the water in Pakistan, who already has a widespread water shortage. This bottled water is not even affordable to the Pakistanis, and even though it's their water, the water bottles are distributed worldwide, not just in Pakistan. Next, they've been feeding us false information about bottled water, leading us to believe myths that aren't even true. Contrary to popular belief, according to an article by Good Housekeeping, nearly half of all bottled water sold is tap water. A Food and Water Watch executive explains that water comparable to that which you get from your sink at home is then bottled and sold for thousands of times its actual value. Why are we straining the environment so much only to receive the same product that we could get at a much, much cheaper rate? And it's something that we should be frustrated about because it's meant to be misleading. Forbes investigated Nestle's Ice Mountain water brand after a firm sued the company for false advertising. If you look at the label, the snow-capped mountain image makes you assume that the water is from a natural source. The quote's pure quality and 100% natural spring water ensure faith in the consumer's mind that what they're getting is the real deal. Finally, with the familiar Nestle blue color scheme, we identify ourselves with a trusted promise of spring water, backed by a reputable brand. However, a Chicago company sued because while this promise may be true for individual water bottles, the 5-gallon jugs of water of the same brand sold to companies and households actually contain tap water instead. In response to another counter-argument that companies want you to believe, contrary to what you think, bottled water actually isn't any healthier for you. Look at the label of Nestle's Pure Life's label, indicating people throwing their hands in the air with the slogan, satisfying your thirst for life, and the benefits of water for your family. Even though water is water, it makes you think of the connection between bottled water and good health. In reality, 2020 conducted a study between the 5 biggest bottled water brands and New York City's own tap water, testing them for any harmful bacteria. What were the results? They found that the bottled water that costs 500 more times was no better for you than the tap water of New York City. In conclusion, we all have habits and routines, and we are all subject to believing the myths that surround us every day. However, if you had the opportunity to change, especially for a reason that is so essential to life everywhere, what would it take for you to do it? Bottled water is damaging to our environment now and for the future, and it is only a corrupt entrepreneurial scheme to make profits instead of helping to enrich people and life. We need to find ways around using bottled water before the situation continues to harm us all. According to National Geographic, San Francisco and Seattle are among U.S. cities that have taken action and no longer buy water for city use. Chicago has even added a 5-cent tax on every bottle. While these kinds of large-scale measures will take a while to spread, we can change our small habits on a day-to-day basis. Try using a reusable water bottle. They come in all different shapes and sizes, and they can be reused for a really long time. And if you don't have one of these, you can always just try to use a plastic bottle more than once. And if using a plastic water bottle is unavoidable, make sure you always recycle it. Plastic water bottles are harmful for everyone, but they don't have to be like that for forever. Use one less plastic water bottle, make a difference, and help shape a better planet for everyone.
Open is an open